Okay, I'm going to show you a fun little trick today using CitraSolv, which is just a cleaner and degreaser, and it smells delightful, and a foam paintbrush, and an old National Geographic that I got at Half Price Books. And this is a really magical technique. Oops, there's a little spider. Get out of there, spider. Go on. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a foam paintbrush and liberally paint some of the more colorful pages of the magazine. You definitely want a lot of different colors of ink for this technique. And I would also recommend wearing gloves. I'm usually too lazy to wear gloves, or, you know, I live in Texas and it's 9,000 degrees every day, so I tend not to wear any extra equipment. But since this is a solvent and a degreaser, you might want to just put on a pair of latex gloves. Now, it doesn't matter what the design of the pages that you're painting is. The only thing that matters is the color. And I suppose whatever this magical National Geographic ink is, I've only seen this technique using the National Geographic, so there must be something special about their ink. And there's obviously something special about the CitraSolv, which, by the way, smells so good that your finished product is also going to smell spectacular. It fades over time as the paper dries, but it's really, really nice. Now, underneath my magazine, I have just a stack of paper towels just to kind of absorb the extra CitraSolv. Even though I'm working on a plastic garbage bag, which has dual uses. I'm going to show you what those uses are here in a little bit. But the paper towel really does help kind of keeping you from having a giant mess all over your table. I'm working outside just because it is kind of a strong smell, and it's a smell that my kitties don't particularly care for. There's something you want to keep your cats away from. A strong citrus smell will definitely do it. Ooh, this page is beautiful. This is going to make a really pretty finished product. Now, the CitraSolv, in addition to doing this magical technique, also breaks down the glue that holds the magazine together. And so at the end, when we go to pull our pages out, they're going to just come right out because of the CitraSolv. Now, you know I have to get all this blue. I can't resist that. And when you're painting pages with text on them, it'll also dissolve the ink for the text. Make some fun patterns. Okay, and I think I'm going to stop now. And what you want to do is just close the magazine. And you want to kind of press on it, and you can see there's ink oozing out onto my paper towel in all directions. And that's good. That's what you want. You want to get the excess out. Sorry about the cicadas. It's just a fact of life here in the tropics. Now we're going to let this sit for about 5 minutes, and we're going to come back to it and see what happened. Okay, we're going to check on our progress here. I'm just going to flip to the place where I started and see how it's going. It's not quite ready yet. I can tell because the pages still look like themselves. But what I am going to do is mark my spot. In the book with a little paper towel. Now see, that's starting to go. Look how beautiful and abstract that is. Look what happened there. See how it just became a crazy abstract pattern? Let me get ink all over my fingers here. And here's the cool part about the garbage bag, is the garbage bag itself has a texture in it. So what you can do is press objects against the pages to make even more fun textures. And this will lift the wet ink and give you kind of a, to me it looks like polished stone texture. Oops, now I have my fingerprints in there. We'll do some more on there. And see how cool that is? It just becomes sort of like marble. I'm going to go ahead and close it up for a little while longer. Clean off my hands. Okay, if you listen real closely, you might be able to hear our ice cream truck. Just that kind of a day. Now I went and got gloves, just so I wouldn't gross you out too bad. Now look at this beautiful texture that I get. Oh my gosh. It's so abstract and fun. And I even brought a little sponge just to kind of see what I could do to make it even more different and fun. But look at this great marbled texture that you get. And that used to be a photograph. Now it just looks like stone. Let's see what we get here. Oh, that is beautiful. And see how the ink is running in to the center there? Now, again, I can take in this smooth area where there's not a lot of texture, I can take the garbage bag and make these beautiful sort of, to me they look like undersea textures. And there's another. Now I can use that on any project that I want. Here's a little close-up. Doesn't that look watery and fun? Here's another pretty sort of green one. And look at this beautiful feather sort of pattern here. Take that out. Now if you like the texture as it sort of comes out of the magazine, with these textures being created just by the pages pulling apart, then just set it aside to dry. It'll dry in about half, well, it depends on where you are, I guess, and your humidity. Oh, that is stunning. But again, you don't have to change the look, but you can very easily change the look just by touching it with something. And to me, the pages with, oh boy, look at that. That is so dramatic. I love this one. these round dots are so, let me pick this page up so you can see it. There's a beautiful one on the back too. Now here's where the difficulty in this technique is. See, I have this beautiful spotty pattern on the back of this page. But look at that gorgeous spotty pattern. So which one am I going to pick? It's so hard to know what to do. Now when you're tearing them out and setting them around to dry, make sure you set them on top of something. Oh, this one is so beautiful. I'm sorry. Now I'm distracted by something shiny. Make sure you set them on something that isn't going to really influence the pattern. Look how beautiful that is. This one's very pale and more pastel. Now this, you can still sort of tell that it was people, but now it looks rather impressionistic. I'm getting farther away from where I had put most of the CitraSolv, so the patterns are getting a little clearer now, and back here I'm back to pretty much just a photograph with some texture on top of it. But this one is really worth saving. It's hard to tell with your gloves on. Oh, that's beautiful. If you're at the right spot or not, if you just have one page or two. But I think that looks sort of like a fun impressionist painting, and I can just cut that out and put it on a card, and I think it'll be beautiful. But what I was saying is, be sure when you set your pages down to dry that you set them down to dry on something that doesn't influence the pattern, because when you pull them apart they're still very, very wet. And if I just sit them down on a garbage bag and I put any pressure on it at all, it is definitely going to influence what I see. Now this, you can still sort of see the trout, you know, his little tail. He had gone across a 2-page spread. And then you can see another one with his little face here. So this is a perfect abstract fish image. And then I have the same on the opposite page that I'll just pull out. Even though I have sort of a fun jellyfish texture happening on the back, I actually think I like this one better because it has so many possibilities with fish. And then to finish up, you know, what I do is I just set them aside to dry. I mess with the ones that I think could use a little extra texture, again, by pressing a garbage bag or another textured object into them. I pour my unused CitraSolv back into the bottle because you can really get a ton of uses out of this in just, you know, a few magazines. And then when the ink is completely dry, I take it inside and use it on my paper crafting projects, which you can see on my website. That's understandblue.com. And feel free to visit and see what I've made. I also use this sort of paper on my Project Reanimate blog, and the purpose of that blog is to reanimate objects that would otherwise be discarded, and an old National Geographic is a perfect example of that. So I hope to see you soon.